special effects makeup artist, and welcome to Tantalizing Tips. It's going to be a makeup demo on ear tips. Pointed ears are the most versatile prosthetic you could use for most characters, elves, fairies, aliens, demons, anything like that. So there's a lot of them out there that are available. There's tips, there's full ears. So the easiest, cheapest ones to buy are going to be plain straight latex, full ear, glue it on, put it on, you're done. It's a little echoey and they're sometimes a little oversized, but it's the easiest ones to do. Next would be latex ear tips. Made of same latex, just goes on the ear tip, so you have the rest of your ear all open. You can hear clearly. A little harder to glue on because you got to get blended tips. The drawback to the latex is that it's opaque. You can't see through it. No light goes through it. So like a regular ear, you get light shining, but you're not going to be able to get it with this. But these are cheapest and easiest to use, and most readily available also. Next would be foam latex, still made with latex, but they're foam, they're soft, breathable, light. You can barely feel them when they're on. The latex ones you can use over and over. Foam latex, you got to be careful. In movies, it's a one-time deal, but for cosplay or whatever, if you're careful, you can use it a few times. But still opaque, but light, and a little more expensive. Next, gelatin. A little harder to find in the United States, mostly in Europe or England, but it's translucent like silicone. And the one good thing about this one, it's cheaper. The one good thing is if you have a mold, you can remelt this and reuse it again and make a new one. But it's also a one-time use if you don't. Then we have silicone. There's going to be silicone ear tips, and there's going to be gel-filled silicone ear tips. Both basically the same. The most expensive adhesives to use. The gel-filled you can blend a little easier than regular silicone. The regular silicone you can use more often, but they are translucent. They're very flesh-like, and they're very expensive. And like I said, even the adhesives are more expensive. A little bottle of silicone adhesive is like $72, $75. So I'm going to start with the basic, the ear tip, the latex ear tip. So you buy the ear tip, and a lot of times you'll see videos and they're cutting off the front edge to make it fit better. That's the edge you don't want to cut because you got a blending edge. If you have to make it fit, you want to cut out of the back, and you can always fold. You cut a V out and fold it and glue it in the back of the ear, and you won't see it. If you cut the front, ruin your blending edge, you're going to see the seam. A lot of people also will just put the ear tips on and then put an ear cuff on to hide the edge, and a lot of people don't even put makeup on, but your choice. So what you want to do first is test out. I might get in front of me doing it, but I have to. Test out the ear, fit it onto, whether it's you or somebody else. Make sure it fits. These are all one size fits all basically. They make them generalized unless you have your own ear mold and sculpt your own ear. They can be a general fit. So this one fits her pretty good, fits her pretty well. And sometimes it's easier to make it up beforehand because they are just little tips. Other times you want to put it on and help you blend it all together. So I'm going to start with Pros-Aid, the adhesive I like. A lot of people use spirit gum. I don't like spirit gum, and most people only use spirit gum for hair now. It smells gross, it's sticky. Pros-Aid comes off easier. It's acrylic based, and if you're in a pinch, it'll come off with soap and water. It shouldn't, but it can. And what you want to do is get a little bit of Pros-Aid. We're going to put a little bit on her ear as Prosade starts out white, and when it's set, when it dries, it's clear. And generally you want it to do that. It works as a contact cement, so a contact adhesive, I should say. So once it's clear, you put it together, it's there. It's stuck. Latex you can rearrange a little bit when you're doing it. Foam latex is really hard, but it's not impossible. So put some adhesive on here, and then it's going to dry. I mean, if you have a fan to dry it off, it makes it faster. So I have, I'm going to be doing this pretty quick. I got 45 minutes for this. So generally you want to take your time. You want to practice first, but take your time when you're doing it so that you know how much time you have. Ear tips are pretty, I don't want to say you want to take an hour or so, but it could, if you're not used to it, it could take you an hour to put on your ear tips, especially if you're doing it yourself, maybe an hour and a half. Don't worry about it. So it's what you should do anyways. So I'm going to use another Q-tip to kind of speed this along. The more you play with it, pat it, it'll dry faster. I'm not removing any or very little. If you're doing latex ear tips, you can go all the way to the blending edge. If you're doing foam latex, you cannot go to the blending edge. You got to put it on and then go back and do the blending edge afterwards. Okay. All right. All right, depending on the ears, some of them have the ridge that goes down. You want to line that up with your ridge. Same with up here. And if it's not completely set, it's going to pop up. So just kind of keep touching it, patting it. If you have the time, then you can use, we call it Bondo. It's basically adhesive with a thickener, and you can patch up the edge if you need to. But we're not going to be doing that for this. And if your edge is good enough, you don't have to do it. Some people will patch an edge with latex and cotton. That's another one you can do, but you usually end up with a weird texture from the cotton when you do it that way. All right, so you can't use regular makeup on latex. You can't use water-based, you can't use cream. The latex, if it's cream makeup or an oil-based makeup, it's going to eat the latex. And in some cases, if latex is thin enough, it will eat through it before the end of the day. It'll rot it and make it all sticky. Water-based is just going to dry out on it. Anything that's not made for latex will turn it also looking kind of gray looking. So you need either, you cover the entire ear at this point with Prosade and let that dry, and then you can put makeup on it, or you can use PAX, which is the adhesive with acrylic paints mixed in, or you can use rubber mask grease. Rubber mask grease is the old time, but it works. So I have this kit with all basic shades. You get individual colors also. It's thick, it's gooey, it's castor oil based. So you could also use castor oil, rub the castor oil in, and then put makeup on there. So also sponges. I never use a wedge straight as a wedge. I always tear it in half and get an edge and then start peeling away so you don't have any square edges on it. It's planned randomness is what it's called. So you can get an uneven texture. Also, you do not want to cover it completely. You don't need to cover it completely. I'm sorry.
Abuse.
That's what I do, abuse my models. You also don't want to use one color. These are all kind of yellowish, but we'll add some other color into it. You can also use a brush, a stiffer brush for this too. So if I wanted to do it like this, don't forget the backs unless you're covering the back of the ear with your hair, your costume. I don't need to do it for this, for the demo, but we're gonna color it, the rest of it. Also have handy dandy bruise wheel. It's got most of the colors I need. I don't have to go with different and mix different ones, so I'm just going to go ahead and use that. Take a little bit of red. And I'm just spotting it on. Stippling it, dabbling, whatever you want to call it. I like stipple, so I'm going to say that. I'll go back with the makeup sponge to even it out. And I'm going to take a little bit of maroon, mix it in with the red. And I'm just going to go into the crevices, into the shadows. That's what we do in the shadows. All right. Now generally you don't want, if this was for a movie, you'd do very little of this. Because it's high def, they're going to pick it up. All right, you can also use a brush to blend it out. And I mean, if you know how to use an airbrush, go for that. But, okay. Okay. You also want to give it a little life because it's latex and you can't see through it. We're going to add a little bit of extra color on the tip. I go with red, you go with a little blue, doesn't matter. I guess it does if you put too much. I almost made a mistake, this is dry. We have to powder it first. You don't want to put dry makeup on grease makeup because it'll just clump. Never rub powder in, pat it on. Pat it in. Tickle.
In my ear.
All right. Now we'll go for the dry red. You can use any blush, anything that's dry, red eyeshadow if you find it. Just adding a little life to the tip. Make it tantalizing. One thing I did forget to tell you about is sometimes that these have to be trimmed. There's a seam on them. I'm jumping around, I'm sorry. sometimes there's a seam, so you just want to take cuticle scissors and cut the seam off. It'll leave a little line if you don't. Give it a little bit here. So that's a quick version of your ear tips. Straight latex, easy to do, and like I said, a lot of people will just put an ear clip here or an ear cuff, and it's all cute and everything, but it doesn't go with your character, but it does hide your edge. So there's a tantalizing tip. So next I'm going to do silicone ears, and I'm going to get Trey up here. I'm sorry, this is Enasni. I forgot to introduce Enasni. Thank you, Enasni.
You want me to show off the ears?
There you go, that's fine. All right. All right, Trey. I need your hat off. You forget about that?
No.
All right, can I get you to move just a little forward? Okay. All right, so I've got an ear, silicone ear. Generally, silicone does not like latex, and latex is okay with silicone, but silicone's not good with latex. So if you're mixing up a silicone glue for this, you're fine. This one is a gel filled, so there's silicone on the inside, and there's a vinyl coating on it, so that we can blend it a little better. You can't reuse these, but they are easier to blend, maybe a little quicker to put on. Okay, so I'm going to try this one on him. Again, not a perfect fit, but it'll work for this. And since this does have a coating, we could use Prozade, but I'm not. Okay. I'm going to use something called Skin Tight from Reynolds or Smooth On. It's basically silicone. So part A, part B, equal parts of A and B. This will take a little longer to set up than the Prozade, but it's an alternative. You can also use this to blend edges on silicone ears, not on latex ears. So when you're doing ears, it's not much of a difference for the weight or the not breathing on it. But if you're using a silicone face or foam latex face, it's a big difference. Like I said, silicone's going to be a little bit more fleshy and move a little better. Foam latex is going to be so much lighter. You can sweat through it. It's so nice. Just takes more makeup to make it look like skin. Ideally, you would use a scale to weigh this out. I'm just going by eye. Skin Tight also comes with a thickener, but if you get too much thickener in there, you're not going to be able to use this. It'll set up way too thick for you to apply. So you want to mix it thoroughly, scrape the sides. It's going to be a little bit runny. You can wait until it thickens a little bit, maybe 2-3 minutes. I don't have that luxury right now. And I'm just going to use this stick as an applicator. Also, if you're using Skin Tight as an adhesive, you have to make sure your ears or your skin that you're using on is free of all grease, because this will just slide right off. And you don't want to be, walking the convention floor and have it slip off. What do you think?
Greasy ears.
Greasy ears. Yes, that might be a different problem you might want to look into if you have greasy ears. All right. Also, the silicone is usually pre-colored. I pre-color this one just lightly. You can add blood vessels, you can add all the stuff when you're pouring it, but I just did a basic color. I didn't do a color match, I just added color. Okay. Because that's what you would get when you buy them. So this is going to take a little longer to set up. You don't have to have a lot of special tools. I use the back of my brush to push it into place. Gonna have to let it sit a little longer. I'm still gonna play with it till it pushes into place though. As I was saying earlier, if you use a silicone adhesive, it's really expensive. This skin tight isn't as expensive, but it's still up there. Going back to the spirit gum is going to be really cheap. But like I said, I hate spirit gum. So, I mean, if you like it, you're used to it, go for it. It's not going to hold the silicone ear that well, but it'll hold the latex one pretty well. And the whole point of the silicone is that you don't have to color a lot of it. So a lot of people will go and put it on, and then they'll go and put makeup over it, and then you're covering up the translucency and kind of ruining the whole point of the silicone. So what I'm going to use to color these is going to be alcohol activated colors. Use 99% alcohol, spray it on there, and it basically works as a tattoo. And you can thin them out so you get a hint of color, you can make them darker. These are ridiculously priced too, but they're really good. Again, sorry for my back. Sticky there. Or not set up, I should say. We want it sticky. One thing with doing makeup effects is it's sticky. Everything's sticky because of the glue. Blood is sticky. When you make fake blood, it's sticky. When you're using Pax paint, it's sticky. Everything is sticky. Except when you want it to stick like this, it doesn't want to stick. Oh my God, Becky. I'm dipping the end of my brush in powder just so it doesn't stay sticky. You know what? I'm going to come back to that. All right, so alcohol colors. You have to use 99% alcohol. You can't use 70, or 91 works also. You can get 91% at like Walmart. So I'm going to spray a little bit in a couple of colors. This is a good brush to use for it. And look, they have a little palette here. That works pretty well. There's that hatch. Also, if your ears are a little fuzzy, you're gonna have to shave them so that it doesn't pull when you take them off. And so what we're gonna do with these alcohol colors is just stipple them on. Because it is alcohol, it dries fast, evaporates very fast. This is being a pain. I'll learn to stick. Do you guys hear what's going on in the background? Good. Hopefully not. Alright, it's driving me crazy, so I'm going to fix this. Much better. For now. Until I turn around, I don't know what's going to happen. Yep, told you. just keep taking alcohol to blend it all out. If you're wondering what I'm doing. What is it doing? All right. So there's your silicone ear. Try to shake your head a little bit. See, it wobbles a little more because they're heavier. But but now the latex here, prostate comes off with spirit gum remover, alcohol, like I said, in a rut, soap and water. This one should just peel right off because I didn't use any adhesive, I just used silicone. But the alcohol colors are you going to need soap and water, because if you use alcohol or makeup remover, it's going to stain your skin even more. So soap and water for the alcohol colors, makeup remover, and well, whatever you clean your skin with afterwards. So there's your tantalizing tips. Again, there's other ones out there. There's also, there's transfers out there which are made with adhesive. Put them on with water and they're there. One-time use, not cheap. If you have any questions, you can email me, skintricks, SKINTRICKS 62 @gmail.com. Thank you.